Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I bring you highlights and behind the scenes action from the 2021 Gaydon Land Rover show, including this, Bowler's brand new Defender. You might be looking at this and thinking, where's the rest of the car? This is actually the drivable chassis from the press launch, the original press launch, and just behind it is one of the original press cars as well. So this is the Range Rover Register, ladies and gents. We're going to have a look around some of the wonderful vehicles that they brought in. It's great to see some of the very early cars here with us, including some of the original press cars as well. And I have to say, absolutely superb turnout. So your first arena exhibitor, what a way to start. Good morning, Chris. Good morning. How are you today, sir?
Not too bad, and everything's moving slowly ahead, so hopefully we'll have a good day between us.
Oh, we certainly will, we certainly will. Now, before we start, I have a question for this man, if you wouldn't mind, please, Chris. Have you seen the weather forecast today?
Yes.
What you're going to do?
It's got a cover.
Good answer. Hasn't got a body, which might have helped, but no, this is actually the original drivable chassis from the press launch.
Yes, it is. We purchased this from the museum some years ago. It was up for auction, and I managed to talk the committee into buying it as part of our sort of Range Rover heritage. John is our current chairman of the register. I'm sure if it does rain, he'll be sitting under the cover with just to keep dry. Holding on to it.
Do I dare say that this is a bit of a baby for you?
Well, it does belong to the club, but I seem to be the custodian of it.
Are you complaining about that fact?
Not really, no.
No, I didn't think so. Now, having the body off it, in terms of performance, how does it compare?
It drives just like the car to the right of us.
Yeah,
it's
you
ballasted
don't know...
so that it
oh, it's all ballasted up, so you've got the exact same. I see now, I didn't realise that was there. But wonderful to see this. You know, I mean, you see the bodies on them, but to actually see it as it is underneath it all.
Well, that was the whole point. They built 3 of them to demonstrate the transmission and the suspension, because at that time it was out, completely new, and so they built them to demonstrate that fact.
Brilliant. Well, unfortunately, we don't have facilities to demonstrate it here anymore. Maybe next year, if we can get Land Rover Experience back, we can do something.
I took it to Eastnor Castle last year, and we got it very muddy there.
Good. That's what I like to see. That is fantastic. Right, Chris, let's carry on moving down here. And we've got an original press car here as well.
Yes.
I'm going to come round to you. You've had it recently restored. It looks like it's on its press launch right now.
Thank you very much.
It's superb, this.
Yeah.
Talk to me about it.
Well, my father bought it in 1973 straight from Range Rover. It was a workhorse. It's pulled over trees, it's towed lorries. It worked really hard up until 2004 when it was torn. My father had intentions of doing it up. I was always too busy. I moved back in with my father in 2007 and said, I'd like to get it back on the road for your 90th. And he kept saying, it would cost too much, I'll buy a MIG welder, I'll do it myself. Of course, it never happened. He died in 2013, so my ambition was to put it on the road in his memory. So it went to the stores in about 2017. I got it back last August. Of course, I haven't been allowed to take it anywhere.
No.
So this is his first outing. It's 115 miles here without a miss.
Fantastic.
Really well.
Can I say that this is a very fitting tribute to him? It's
Thank
superb.
you. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. Wonderful thing. Now I'm going to come round to another three-door. Now then, trophy on the dashboard with this one. Tell me more.
This is a very famous car because it won the first ever off-road race in the United Kingdom, probably in Europe as well, which was called the Senior Service Welsh Hill Rally in 1971. It was driven in the event by Roger Craythorne. Roger Craythorne was an engineer at a very small firm called Rover, and they just brought these new vehicles out, and they didn't want to enter the event in the name of Rover, so it was entered in the name of the Rover Owners Association, and they needn't have worried because it did win the event. And the other day, Roger presented me with his toolkit for the vehicle, which is a very, very large hammer. I know a lot of you can't hear this, but this is a very, very large hammer, and Roger used this after every section for bashing out the wheel rims that he bent during the hill rally. And he's kept it as a trophy all the years and presented it to me. He's also presented the cup that he won on the hill rally. And this car was damaged in 1979 when it was 8 years old. It was left in a container in North Wales. I pestered the owner, who I knew very well, for 30 years to try and buy it off him. And finally, on the 12th of December 12, he rang me up one day and he said, right, I'll accept your offer. I couldn't remember what the offer was. The car was completely derelict. We picked it up, we rebuilt it, and exactly as she was when she won the hill rally.
That is superb. I tell you what, they don't come much more famous than that, do they? That's superb. Good on you, sir. Good on you for bringing that in. That's superb. Hello there, how are you, sir?
I'm the old one out here, aren't I? All these lovely classics.
I didn't want to point it out. I didn't want to point it out, but a little bit, yes. But it's fine. It's fine. It's still a Range Rover.
Now we've got an outsider anyway, the P38.
The P38. Well, we've got more P38s coming in later on today. We've got some Holland and Holland ones coming in. Now, there's only 100 of those built. This was almost towards the very end of P38's production, wasn't it? The Holland and Holland.
Yeah, if you recall the story of P38, it's a bit of a sort of lost child, really. But it had just been launched when BMW took over. They decided that they would rather have a completely new model Range Rover. So all the plans were around put V12 engines in it, which meant that it was quite a long time in the market. So we needed to support it, and we did that with limited editions. We had the Westminster, Bordeaux, all kinds of ones. Of course, the very, very special Lindley. And the Holland and Holland was designed to complement the Lindley, town and country, if you will.
Got you. So the Lindley would that be the town? And there was something, what, 5, 6 of those built?
I believe we tracked down 6, and there was another one that mysteriously disappeared. But that had a price tag of 100 grand, and this was in '98, so
yes,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like in today's money, near 200, I would imagine, with inflation.
I did do the calculation once. It's very expensive.
Yes, yeah. I mean, current Range Rover crop, you could spend that kind of money, but
you can indeed. But we were ahead of the game. We were doing this in '98.
Absolutely. Now, the Holland and Holland Special Edition, Holland and Holland, of course, the gunsmiths. Talk me through what was special with the Holland and Holland.
Well, some of the details that maybe the owners probably know better than I, but the interesting thing about Holland and Holland was that you'd think of it as a typical British company, you know, famous for lock, stock and 2 smoking barrels, but it was actually owned by Chanel. the French perfume manufacturer, and in fact their project manager, the girl we were dealing with, had actually just arrived from Disneyland Paris, so it was quite interesting. But I was working on it. I was in public relations at the time. I was working with it with Rod Myers, who was in special vehicles. He was their marketing manager, in fact, taken over my job. And we were both keen reenactors and both keen on guns and things. So one of the things we were very anxious to preserve was the kind of satin gun stock finish and all the veneers. And that, obviously that was including some of their trademark little diamonds that were done in gunmetal.
Wow, wow. I mean, in terms of pricing, these were not cheap. These were $64,995 start price, and then if you put the infotainment like the VHS and the TV screens and so forth, then it jumped another $5,000, and that's before we got to all of the optional extras, including gun cabinets.
Yeah, it was by no means a cheap vehicle, that's for sure. So,
in the cab of the Judge Dredd car. I'm now going to attempt to drive it into the main arena. So whatever you do not stand in front of this car because it's right looking down to the left. Here goes. Well, this can only go well.
So, ladies and gents, that's possibly the worst car I've ever driven in my life, and now you're about to see me fall out in it. There you are, that wasn't easy with size 12.
It was built for the film Judge Dredd. Number one of 32 that still survives. We don't know where the rest of them have gone.
There's less than half survived now.
And before it started off, obviously you can see Land Rover on the side of it, and it is of course at a Land Rover show. This started out, well, as an ex-military Land Rover.
Yes, it was. It's 101 forward control from 1976.
101 forward control with a lovely petrol V8 in it.
Yes, it sounds like.
Oh, it certainly does. Now, when this was originally built and they were taken to set, we were talking about this yesterday, the exhaust and so forth, and the fuel filler was actually still inside of it, and health and safety got involved. They weren't happy with that at all, were they?
Well, probably not. No, we had to extend the caps and we had to put the exhaust at the back and drive the lead like that.
No, but with the exhaust pointing out the top, when it was cold on set, because they filmed it all in December, you got a nice puff of smoke coming out the top of it, so they quite like that.
Oh yeah, I think so. Good effects.
Absolutely, and this car is all about effect. Now, you can see the side, these are actually big fiberglass wheel trims, aren't they, which, if they caught anything, just exploded.
Yes, they do break easily, apparently they've got quite a few of them each night on the set.
I think they said they were changing about 6 or 8 of those a day.
I think it was about that, yes.
This is the brand new Bowler Defender. Take a good look at this, because this is the first time this car has been seen in public. Literally last week this was having its full press demonstration with the likes of Top Gear, Fifth Gear and all the rest of them, and Darren, who is sat inside there, the sales manager, told me they were literally having to drag people out of the driver's seat. It's that good. So let's talk you through Bowler's brand new Defender. First thing you need to know is that this is a proper race car, and it's been built for Bowler's One Make race series, the Defender Challenge 2022 Championship. Now, first question you're going to want to know about it, price. This vehicle, as it stands today, is £99,500. Okay, now that sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. However, bearing in mind that a standard Defender starts at about 40 grand, and this has been fully race prepped, everything stripped out, it's got a roll cage in there which is like a work of art, uprated suspension, and you get full entry into 7 different race series, and you've got Bowler's full support for all of them. That is not bad going at all. Trust me, if you've ever done any form of motor racing, you'll know that it's not cheap. And to do it with Bowler and 7 race series, that is not bad going at all. So let's talk you through what Bowler do with the Defender 90. As you can see, they start with a standard Defender 90. Obviously, they're not going to be ticking many of the options that you can get for the new Defender on this. So they start with a fairly bog standard Defender 90. The first thing they do is strip absolutely everything out of it. So they're going to be putting in their roll cage, putting all the safety harnesses and all the safety gear that they need inside of it. And once that's all installed, they then repaint the inside of it. And then they start to work on the outside of the vehicle. Now, under the bonnet is the 2-litre turbocharged engine with 300 horsepower, the Ingenium unit, and that remains pretty much untouched, ladies and gents. There's not many changes to that at all. Underneath, though, they do fit uprated suspension, and these here are Bowler's brand new wheels. So on the outside we've got uprated suspension, we've got different wheels, you can see the snorkel on there, you can also see the washer jets have been extended, there's various safety devices on the outside of it and protection on the underside of the vehicle. But other than that, mechanically it is very close to the car that comes out of the factory. It's got that 2-litre turbocharged engine putting out about 300 horsepower. Then inside we're fully stripped out with a full roll cage. If you haven't seen the roll cage on the back of this, please do go and have a look because it's absolutely superb. It's a very complex design for a roll cage, very, very sturdy indeed. But then when you look forward, you can still see parts of the new Defender dashboard in there as well. They've had to modify a few bits as well for the safety element. So on the passenger side, the passengers actually got access to the horn and washer jets for the driver. Now, why are Bowler doing this? You all know Bowler, they're infamous when it comes to making their fast off-road Land Rovers, but this is going to be their new one-make race series. It starts in 2022, it's called the Bowler Defender Challenge 2022 Championship. It consists of 7 rounds, ladies and gents, and you get Bowler's full support for that. There's only about 12 or 15 cars being made to take part in the championship, so if you do want to get involved, please do go and see the guys at Bowler and they'll be able to give you all of the information. Now earlier on I said about the price, it's £99,500. 40 grand of that is in the car, okay? So before you've even got started, you've got £40,000 in the car from the factory, then you're paying for all the man hours for Bowler to upgrade it and uprate it, and then you're also paying for them to take it to the 7 different races across the UK and they give you the full support. And then at the end of the series, you own the vehicle. Now in terms of racing, that is very, very cheap racing indeed, and to do it in a brand new Defender with someone like Bowler and having all of their support, for me that is absolutely outstanding value. From the Whittle Travel Museum, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And both of these yours?
They're both part of the museums. From one, both previously owned by the previous preservationists. The first which is recently moved out to the museum. Still the museum. So yeah, that's that really.
Right, well let's start with the one at the front end, shall we? What year?
This is a 1953 Mark I Land Rover. Midland Red had this after a demonstrator which towed the similar vehicle to the deck behind. What they then did, they bought 20 of them between 1958 and 1960 and used them over various garages over the area. So
So they would have been used, as you've seen today, if one did break down, they could go out of the cover. They could also have all the tools in the back as well to do running repairs.
That's correct. In fact, the demonstrator actually towed the sister vehicle to what's here today, so it's another 40 series vehicle, and that video is available on our YouTube page actually.
Perfect, we'll link to that in the video. When they started doing the promotional work for this, we were talking about this yesterday, they were very clever with this because obviously Midland Red produce their own double-deckers, but they also had to get some from other manufacturers as well. So we've got Leyland here behind us. Whenever they did a photo like this, I made sure it was Leyland.
Yes, that's correct. Many of them in the red vehicles actually their own built vehicles. They only had a small number that were Leyland vehicles. As we mentioned, during the demonstration with the Land Rover, they did use Leyland.
We'd never call one of our own.
No, not really.
Now the double decker, let's move on to this because this is absolutely stunning. I had a look at this yesterday, put it this way, when I got in this bus, I wiped my feet before continuing. Massively underrated car, the Freelander, and I am a huge fan of it. I really am. Hello, sir. How are you?
Very good. How's things? Oh, hello there. How's things? You all right?
Yeah, very good, very good. So you are part of the Freelander Owners Club. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes, we've been running now for over 10 years now, and so we just keep growing and growing each week.
Fantastic. Now, I am a big fan of the Freelander. I love an underdog. I think it's a fantastic Land Rover. Not everyone agrees. I think they're soft roaders.
Yeah.
I think they're not very good, and they've got a bit of a reputation that goes with them.
Yeah. No, I agree, and you've hit the nail on the head. It's compared to the kind of more of the bigger traditional Land Rovers, that you summed it up in a way that a lot of people think about it, but it is very, very, very capable. The beauty of these types of cars, they are a little bit lighter, so you don't have to be bogged down. You can get some good novelty tires. You can still have the same fun.
Fantastic. Now you come in a Freelander 1.
Yeah.
I'm just going to quick down the registration, an 04, so that's fairly late.
Yeah, so you can get some 57 plated Freelander 1s, but they did stop production in 06. A bit of a gap, and then the Freelander 2s came along. So you can get the 56 is probably the earliest Freelander 2s. We've actually got one that's here was about the 2000th off the line, and it's so and the natural progression of the car. And then obviously moving on to Disco Sports, which was the Freelander 3.
It was Freelander 3. When you look at it, there are elements of that all over the Disco 3.
Yeah, it's the same chassis, same engine in the original ones, and obviously moved to the Janiniums. But yeah, all three of them are very, very capable cars. Going to the kind of more luxurious side, I would say the Disco Sport, but the pedigree is still there with the 1s and the 2s and 3s as well.
One of the things that people don't always know is that there was an earlier Holland and Holland edition available only in the Benelux countries. It wasn't anywhere near as nice as this. It didn't have all the pretty bits on. And it was all diesel, and it was in Woodcote green. There you go. If anybody's got one here, can they bring it forward, please?
In terms of the development of Range Rover when it came to 38A, what was sort of that major step forward over the original?
Well, a major step forward on the 38A was that in fact it was designed from the ground up as a luxury vehicle, whereas the original Range Rover wasn't. The original Range Rover became one by default. So there's a completely different design philosophy for this one. They drew in a lot of people from Rover cars to help them get the interior right. Basically the design of the styling perhaps, if you want to call it that, although picking up cues from the original vehicle, was very much smoothed out and designed to appeal to luxury car buyers. Recognisable as a descendant of the original, but very different in many respects. So this one, Tim, is one of the later ones, which has the headlamp marks, where you can see black around the headlamp, which gave them a more distinctive front appearance.
So in terms of the development of Range Rover, yes, I was talking, and so this is almost the fourth time in the Range Rover heritage in the livery category, because this is when BMW started getting on.
Well, BMW didn't start out really with this vehicle, but BMW were going to supply the diesel engines, which had been arranged before BMW bought the company. Now actually BMW bought the company in January 94, and this came out in September 94. So everybody thinks it was designed by BMW, but it wasn't.
So it was before BMW got involved, but then as they started progressing on yesterday, I heard that actually BMW wanted an entire new car, which is where we got the next generation of Range Rover.
That's completely right, Tim. One of the things that BMW wanted to do was to improve the engines, notably by putting their own in, because BMW are like that. And one of the things they intended to do was to put their own V8 to 3.5 and 4.4, plus their own V12. When they realised that they still wouldn't get the real luxury vehicle they wanted, they scrapped it, or they scrapped the programme and decided to start on the third generation vehicle instead.
We are going to have a listen to all of you, because I know you're keen to rev your engine to warm up our planners, but I want to hear yours first, because I want to hear yours first on time for stage 2. So if I can listen to you first, and then we'll all let you have a little rev. So you go first, sir. Go on, start her up for us.
I think it's a V8 too.
Oh, definitely. Do you want to give it a little blink? See that tall tilt to the right. Right then, let's have all of you start up for us. Right, are you all ready? Three, take it away. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
That's not bad. I think the world's
So then, this is Project J, and it is, of course, the Discovery. So hello sir, how are you? So this is the Project J presentation group. Tell me all about it.
So the ethos of our group is we look at the old discoveries, the early ones, and we're all about the preservation of those vehicles. So the J comes from the original factory project name, which was named Project J.
So, I mean, this was quite an important vehicle, wasn't it, for Land Rover?
It was a massive vehicle for Land Rover. It was done on a shoestring. It had to meet competition from the Japanese very, very quickly. A highly reactive project for Land Rover, and they delivered something quite special.
Indeed, indeed. Right, so that's really fantastic to see a pre-production 5-door here. A 3-door, this is how they would have come out. And, you know, people see Discovery now and they think family car. So 3-door family car of this size, something not quite adding up there.
That's right, but it was part of the original remit of the Discovery that it couldn't infringe on the already existing Range Rover. So they offered a 3-door because obviously Range Rover was a 4-door. It had square headlights because Range Rover had round headlights. It was purposely marketed and built as a 3-door, so it didn't actually step on the toes of Range Rover. However, public demand, the 5-door came very quickly, and it sold like hotcakes.
And it's still selling well today. I mean, you've still got...
You can't buy a 3-door.
No, you can't buy a 3-door today, but in terms of Discovery, you can very much buy that. And they sit very well with Range Rover in range. Right then, let's move on to this one. A Camel Trophy. Now, is this a genuine Camel Trophy?
Yes, yeah, it's a genuine Camel Trophy. It was built for the 1993 event, and it was the Belgian team's training car at Eastern Castle, and then it went over to the event in Sabah, Malaysia on the island of Borneo, and it was the management sport vehicle, one of them anyway, so that's why it's not too beat up. And it ended up in Europe doing a bit of training after that. That's as far as I've got on the history with it, really.
Series, hello sir, how are you? Series 2, tell us what you bought in here.
1968 Series 2A.
The outside of it looks very rustic. Patina, is that what we call it? Lack of paint. I think it looks great on the outside, but on the side, the inside is all rock solid. An engine? Well, it looks lovely. That's absolutely superb. Now we're on to our next one. Hello, sir. How are you? Okay, mate. Very good, very good. Tell me about yours. Where is it from? What industry?
From Leicester, 1961.
Well, I have to say, inside it looks absolutely immaculate. It's not looking bad on the outside either. Looks superb. Thank you very much for bringing that in. We've got more stuff coming up for you at 2:30. Well, what a collection we've got here. These are proper utility. Hello there. Hello. How are you? How are we doing? How are you? I'm very well. I'm very well. Now, I'm a huge fan of this. A huge fan. For those who are not familiar, tell us what it is.
The oldest 2A 129 cylinders.
No, I do love the ones. I just love their bulk and just they are just the ultimate Thomas toy, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's basically a 109 that went to the gym.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And this one, Southern Electricity. This is a genuine Southern Electricity workhorse, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it's from summer 1969. Left, then sold it in 84. So I did quite a lot of stuff with them. Work hard.
Well, that's it. They do need to work hard, don't they? This is the point with our Land Rovers that are in here with us, working hard. Now, speaking of working hard, this is a hard old nut, isn't it, this one? Bomb-proof. Is it tin-proof? That's what I want. I bet I would probably break it, knowing me, because I can break pretty much anything that I put my hand to. But tell us where this one was served and the history of it and so forth.
It's a purpose of demonstrator, it's never ever been issued.
It's never been issued? Wow.
It could have been being snatched free, because they've done double arms on it. But in the aerospace, those material comes with production. So it set in the stores in 2018. And that was in work at the time and really
brilliant. So it's never had anyone in the back of it, so this is, it's clean, very clean, as you would expect with that. What's the mileage on that? It's up to 43, is it?
They use the chassis from another vehicle, some tyres and things like that.
In this format, wow, this is as fresh as I come, really, isn't it? So you've had it since 2018, obviously 2020 was a total disaster, so it's not been to many shows then? Well, she looks absolutely superb. A lot of people are even looking after the floors in here with a bit of protection just to keep everything more proper. Looks superb, and just the sheer weight of this door is absolutely phenomenal. Even the door hinges are absolutely, everything on this is huge. I feel like I need to follow what this thing did and go to the gym just to be able to open the door on it. Right then, let's move on to this. Now then, I had a model of one of these when I was a kid, a little corgi model, and now I'm talking to a man sat in one. This is a good little piece of kit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lovely kit, yeah.
A proper AA one, is it?
It is, yeah. It's owned by the AA. I'm just owning of it, and it was originally an AA vehicle as well, so it started in Kent in 1971. Back about 15 years ago.
Fantastic. Oh, I do love this. So keeping some of the AA's history in the AA. Now, little birdie told me that you had to call the AA on the way in. Did something go wrong?
Well, we didn't actually have to call. We might come away home. There was a bit of an issue with the installation and but fingers crossed we get back to you.
Fingers crossed. It would be quite a spectacle to see an AA van on the side of the road being covered by the AA. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, underneath you'll find a like button. Hit that. Right next to it there's a subscribe button as well. Hit that, you'll get a new video from me every week. Coming up next week, it's the Beaulieu Supercar Weekend. I'm so excited for it, I hope you are too. If you are going to be there, please do come over and say hello. I might even have some merch for you. If you can't be there, don't worry, the videos will be online next week. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you again soon.